Hey Bayek, it's me Ian, and in today's video I'm continuing my look at classic Doctor Who. Yes, brilliant stuff. And it's been the third and fourth Doctor stories, all the golden era of Doctor Who. That's what it's like, and I'm really enjoying doing this. Anyhow, today's story is a fourth Doctor story from season 15. It is The Invisible Enemy from 1977. This was the second story in the 15th season. It was transmitted between the 1st of October to the 22nd of October 1977. It's a 4-episode story, and it's, well, interesting. This is an interesting one, definitely. We had before, the opener was Horror of Fang Rock, and then the next one after this is Image of Fendor. Right, this is written by, you've guessed it, Bob Baker and Dave Martin. They've certainly, wow, great writers for Doctor Who, as I've talked about them before, but here they are again doing this story. And I would say they looked at this as quite an ambitious story to do, particularly when you look at the budgets and what they can achieve. And this is really interesting. Now, the script editor was Robert Holmes, and we now have a producer, Graham Williams, who's just really getting into the role now as producer. The music is by Dudley Simpson again, and of course, here we are, the director. It's a one and only time that he directed Doctor Who, and his name was Derek Goodwin. He's a writer, television director, and producer. And really, his forte at the time was, say, drama and comedies. And so his approach to Doctor Who would have been very interesting, particularly he'd probably never dealt with special effects. And let's face it, this story is full of Doctor Who special effects. And it's interesting how he coped with doing that. Very interesting. Yes. Okay, so let's look at the cast. We've got Tom Baker, of course, as the fourth Doctor. We've got Louise Jameson as Leela. And we've got John Leeson as the voice of K9. Yes, K9. It's the first story with K9 in. The introduction of a very popular character, the dog, the robot dog. Wow, yes, here it is. It's where it all begins. Okay, now, let's look through the cast. Well, a familiar face. Michael Sherd, who plays Low in this. You may recognize him. He was in The Ark, 1966, William Hartnell story. The Mind of Evil, 1971, which of course is the third Doctor story. And then Pyramids of Mars, 1975, brilliant Tom Baker story. Also Castrovalva, 1982, the Fifth Doctor's opening story. And then another classic story from, well, 1988, Remembrance of the Daleks. Oh, yes, that is a great story. And that's the Seventh Doctor, of course. He was in that. But then I was just looking at some of the films, but two films that obviously stand out are Holiday on the Buses. Hey, Bayek. Yep. Holiday on the Buses, 1973. I think that is my favourite of the On the Buses films. And then he was in The Empire Strikes Back, 1980. Wow. What a pedigree that is. Fantastic. Then we've got Brian Grelis playing Saffron. He was in Revenge of the Cyberman, 1975, which I absolutely think is fantastic. Then he was in Snake Dance, 1983, which is a Fifth Doctor story. That is quite an interesting story. It's the Mara story, and that is a follow-up, I think, story to that Snake Dance. So that's 1983, and then is just a big history of TV series, as just like so many of these actors, very much involved in TV. Then we've got Jay Neal playing Sylvie. Now, he had uncredited roles in Doctor Who with The Enemy of the World, 1967 to 1968. Also, Doctor Who and the Solarians from 1970, third Doctor story. Then Colony in Space, 1971. And then after that, where he is credited, we've got The Mask of Mandragora, 1976, and Underworld, 1978. Both Tom Baker stories, the Fourth Doctor. So it's got a history connected with Doctor Who. Usual, I'm saying it. I know I sound repetitive, but an actor very much involved in TV series and TV movies. That's him. And then we've got Edward Pegg playing Mika. And he was in a notable film, The House That Vanished, 1973. And then in a slasher film called Nightmares, 1980. Yeah, interesting. And then just lots of TV series and movies. And then we've got another face that might be familiar to you, and name as well, Frederick Jaeger, who plays Professor Morris in this, who of course is the one who we see with K9. He's the one who's made K9. Yes, very interesting. And he was in The Savages, 1966. Planet of Evil, 1975. Tom Baker story. And he was in Voyage of the Damned, 1976. A film that is, it's reasonably well known. And the last one, he was in very small roles. He's got a career in films. But another outstanding film that he was involved in was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade from 1989. So that's just some of the main cast members of this story. Now, you're saying to yourself, what's this story about? And then we'll perhaps discuss some of the issues around the story. Really, it's a story that starts with this an alien virus. It infects this human crew at a refueling station, Titan, one of the Saturn moons. And the Doctor picks up this SOS distress call, and then it's cancelled, and then Leela, who's got this heightened sense about things, senses that there's some evil behind all this, and they go and investigate, and that's how the story sort of starts to unravel. When they get there, things are clearly not right, and we see the well, this virus and the effect that it's having. And they meet then on their way. They manage to get to this, like I suppose you could call it like a hospital. Yes, and they meet Professor Marius, who um, is also helping find out what this infection is, and they make various important discoveries, and which also we see clones, which is interesting, of Leela and the Doctor, um, and of course K9, and K9 starts to play quite a big part in the story as well, and their relationship. Particularly, it's Leela seems to form quite a relationship with K9, which is absolutely fascinating. Just seeing this develop, and yeah, it's really good. And the story goes from that. Now, I think it's interesting because um, you may have heard of the film or seen the film Fantastic Voyage from 1966. That's Raquel Welch is in that. And that as where humans are injected through the blood stream. They're reduced in size and go inside this bloodstream, and this idea is used quite clearly in this. Yes, I wonder if this was an influence on them. I'm sure it was, as the writers. They're very well aware of it. And it's a great part because we see inside the Doctor, yes, in his brain. Fantastic stuff. Now, what I'm saying let me just say this. It wasn't very well received at the time, this story. I think for various reasons. And even now, it's not highly regarded at all. And I think a lot of it comes down to what people think the special effects, which is Doctor Who, but they think they're really bad. And you can kind of chuckle at this prawn thing, a creature that they've created, which just looks quite ridiculous. But it's Doctor Who, it's part of the fun of it. Maybe some people have lost their sense of fun when they're reviewing this. It's Doctor Who, please. I mean, sometimes yes, they do absolutely fantastic special effects. What they do, other times they're not quite as good. And yes, maybe there are places here where they're not as good, but just get into it. Just get into the plot. The story, the premise is really a good premise. I think it is, anyhow. And I think from that viewpoint, we should look at it like that. But I enjoyed it. I mean, what is not to enjoy this story? Okay, it's not the greatest, maybe, of Doctor Who stories, and obviously it's not well remembered in terms of that. But I really enjoyed it. I just took it for what it is, and Tom Baker and Leela are just fantastic, and K9. I mean, it's the introductory story of K9, so fantastic. And the ending, K9 goes in and he gives him. He basically, the professor gives K9 to them, and it's fantastic. I just thought it was great. Why does all this? I do not know. I really don't know why people have gone like this about it. It don't make sense, does it? By heck, it don't. Now, the story was released on VHS in 2002, which is actually quite late in terms of releases for VHS. And it appeared on DVD in 2008. And again, it kind of sort of is interesting because it was put in a box set, which was the K9 and Company box set. again, it's like sort of shoved in there as if it's not as important. But there we are. That's what happened. That's how it was released. But yeah, but obviously now we are going to get this in the new Doctor Who collection Blu-ray box set, which is out very soon, and we're going to get a really good, respectful release, I think, to it. Anyhow, here's the DVD. Look, there it is. You've seen it. I'm just trying to show you it a bit more. There's the back with all special features and what have you. And the documentary is really good, and we see about the problems in the documentary, and there's nice illustrated disc, and there's the usual Doctor Who notes, which is nice. A nice little bit about that Doctor Who. And I think this is one that needs a bit more praise than it's getting. I know it's not the greatest, but it's Tom Baker. It's just another great performance, and just accept it. And I sound like I'm preaching. I don't want to preach too much. I do like sound preaching, but anyhow, that's it. So yes, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and we'll let you know when I produce these videos. And also, have a look in the playlists and see, what sort of things I do on the channel, or more further Doctor Who reviews. Have a look up, whatever you want. And if you like this particular video, please give it a like, get it out, hopefully onto YouTube, and all the algorithms and all that business. And then other people might enjoy it. And if you've got any comments, please put your comments down. I love to read your comments. I do buy, and it all costs notes, so can't say fairer than that. So all I gotta say is, I'll see thee again.